Welcome everybody once more again. We are with Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1. We are proceeding very quickly towards the climax. نحن ننطلق بسرعة الصاروخ. We are rocketing towards climax. Towards the climax. The climax means the highest point of struggle. Climax means the highest point of struggle. Climax means the highest point of struggle. Or conflict. نحن متجهون بسرعة نحو ذروة الصراع between the tragic hero and the people around him. I want to read with you from line 155, line 155, namely what Ophelia says after Hamlet departs the meeting with her. Oh, what a noble mind is here overthrown. I'm reading this to tell you that Hamlet, in the eyesight of other people, is a noble man. For Ophelia, he is a noble man. Ophelia now is drawing or is depicting the picture of Hamlet. The courtiers, the soldier, the scholars, eye, tongue, sword. Hamlet represents the courtiers, the friends, characteristics, the soldiers, traits, scholars, features, eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the first state. And the state expected too much from Hamlet. Hamlet was the hope of the state. Because he was the heir apparent. بالمناسبة كان هو the heir apparent. اوعوا تنسوا المصطلح heir apparent. heir أو heir apparent. heir apparent. heir apparent اللي هو ولي العهد. He is supposed to assume kingship after Claudius's death. Okay? The expectancy and rose of the first state. He was the rose of the first state. The glass of fashion and the mold of form. The observed of all observers. Quiet down, and I of ladies most deject and wretched, that sucked the honey of his music vows. Now see that noble and most sovereign reason, like sweet bells jangled out of tune and harsh. She is speaking very highly of Hamlet. This is very important because we want to know how people estimate Hamlet. Now enter the king and Polonius. You know that the king and Polonius were overhearing. يتنصت. كانوا بيتصنتوا على ما يحدث. Now the king, you see the king? Now I read you the passage. Love? This is not love. Hamlet is not suffering because of love. This is how Claudius conceives of the whole situation. His affections do not that way tend. His sentiments, his emotions do not show that he is suffering because of frustrated love and reciprocated love. This means that the king is very shrewd, very cunning, very calculating. The king, these are the characteristics of the king. King is shrewd, cunning, and calculating, who can't be deceived by appearances and by other people's estimates. رائع هذا، قدراته العقلية هائلة، لا أحد يخدعه، المظاهر لا تخدعه ولا يخدعه أعوانه. Shrewd. He soon discovered that Hamlet's sufferings weren't due to frustrated love, nor what he spoke, though it lacked form a little, though it lacked coherence, illogical, seemed somewhat a little bit illogical كلامه, wasn't like madness. It is different from madness. There is something in his soul, deep down in his heart, something over which his melancholy sits and brood. There is something deep down in his heart that makes him sad and melancholic and makes him ponder, think about it. Brood here means think deeply. What is it? The king doesn't know. But as a political person, he knows how to act promptly, very contrary to Hamlet. بيعرف فورا كيف يتصرف. And I do doubt the hatch and the disclose will be some danger. I believe that something dangerous will result from this situation or Hamlet's behavior. شايفين كيف؟ على طول thoughtful. Which to prevent, because I want to prevent the occurrence of something dangerous. همنع. شايفين كيف؟ هذا بسموه ايه؟ counter attack، هجوم مضاد على طول. أو بسموه ضربة استباقية. هذا ضربة استباقية على طول، سدد لهاملت ضربة استباقية أو counter offensive. He has no time to think and ponder about things. No, he acts promptly. In this situation, he is the very foil of Hamlet. The very foil of Hamlet. عكس Hamlet على طول. لا وقت to be wasted in self-talk. I have in quick determination, in a quick decision, thus sit it down. He shall with speed to England. I'll send him to England quickly for the demand of our neglected tribute, to ask for our neglected taxes on England. Haply the seas and countries different. Haply means by chance. Haply means by chance. شاف كيف الملك عطلوه بتصرف، فيش عنده وقت. Happily, by chance, or luck. آمل إنه المناطق تروح مختلفة عن بلدنا وحيصير كويس وتمام. Happily the seas and countries different with variable objects. With variable objects يعني variable objects different environment تعني different environment حيث بيئة هناك بيئة مختلفة different environment. Shall expel dismiss drive away expel drive away تطرد أو dismiss shall be drive away shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, to expel that something, the something settled down in his psyche, in his mind, in his heart. تطرد هذا الذي بداخله. Whereon his brains is still beating puts him thus from fashion of himself. What think on it? He addresses himself to Hamlet. The king, Claudius, never thought of sending Hamlet out of the country, but promptly because he concluded that something dangerous would definitely result from Hamlet's hallucinations, Hamlet's seeming madness, or Hamlet's abnormal behavior, he decided promptly, at the moment, promptly to send him out of the country. With the pretext of asking or restoring the tribute his country, England, should pay for the Denmark. هكذا هم الملوك. No time to be wasted. Let us see Polonius's counsel. Polonius's counsel. Counsel means advice. Means advice. ايش بده يقول له؟ Polonius. It shall do well, it will be good. But yet do I believe the origin and commencement of his grief, the origin of his grief and the beginning of his grief sprung from neglected love. He still holds this view. This means that he doesn't have proper estimation of the state of affairs. We have two different estimations. I personally side with Claudius's estimation, not Polonius's one. How now, Ophelia? You need not tell us what Lord Hamlet said. We heard it all, my lord. Do as you please. He addresses himself to the king. Do as you please. But if you hold it fit, if you believe it is suitable, after the play, let his queen mother all alone entreat him. Let his mother speak to him, entreat him to show his grief, to disclose his grief to her. Let her be round with him. Let her be frank with him, direct with him. And I'll be placed, so please you if you want, in the ear of their conference. I'll hide myself in a place where I am very near or very close to their meeting place to overhear what they are saying and to act promptly if a dangerous situation arises. If she find him not, if she can't correct his behavior, to England send him. خلاص. This is a new solution invented by Polonius. this is a new initiative, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think. Confine, imprison. اقترح عليه حاجة جديدة. Confine, jail or imprison. It seems to me that Polonius is too much loyal to Claudius, or he is a partner in the crime committed against Hamlet's father. مخلص جدا 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 جدا. هو من اقترح انه الكينج imprisons Hamlet. Now with scene 2, I'm finished with scene 1, the whole scene. Scene 2. Now scene 2. Scene 2 starts, المشهد الثاني بيبدأ. It starts with what says the king as the close of the scene. في نهاية السين الأول إيش بيقول الملك؟ Madness in great ones, in great people, mustn't unwatched go. يجب أن نترك الجنون في الأشخاص العظماء أن يذهب دون ما مراقبة ودون ما مراعاة. This is how he closes the whole scene. And he is true. Politically, he is true. Politically, he is true. Scene 2, enter Hamlet and the 3 of the players. You know that Hamlet contrived with the 3 players. He hired them to act a play that resembles the death of his father and the way his father is killed or got assassinated. He wants them to act the play out in the presence of his mother and Claudius, aiming that and he invented 15 lines of poetry purporting the way his father was, or representing the way his father was killed, with the sole purpose of discovering whether the king trembles and shows pangs of conscience at the sight of the scene of killing Hamlet enacted in front of him. This shows that Hamlet is a learned person, is an intelligent person, is also a scheming person. He wants to know for sure. He wants to verify for certain whether the king was responsible for the murder of his father, or whether the ghost hasn't been so far truthful and honest with Hamlet. Is it the reflection of devil, or the embodiment of devil, or Satan? And he wants, whether the ghost wants to delude, tempt Hamlet to hell. It's quite legitimate for Hamlet to make sure that his father was killed 100% by his uncle Claudius. He made use of this plot because he knows, psychologically speaking, that people get affected by the things by the crimes people get when they see them enacted in front of their eyes. This is quite true, psychologically speaking. لما تمثل أنت, yes. Speak, he addresses himself to the players. Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounce it to you. Imitate the way I pronounce the lines I invented. how I pronounce them, you pronounce them the way I pronounce them, the way I taught you. Hamlet here, to me, is the mouthpiece of Shakespeare. هو بنطق على بيعبر عن نظرة شكسبير because Shakespeare was a playwright and was once an actor. And Shakespeare had a very little estimation for some actors in the moral plays. فبقول ما تعملوش هيك وهيك 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 وهيك. I pronounce it to you tremingly. Tremingly means easily. Tremingly means easily. You need to pronounce things easily. ما تزعقوش. Don't shriek. Don't cry. On the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of your players do, if you mouth it, هنا verb, if you pronounce it, the way some of your players do, I had as lief the town crier spoke my lines. Lief means glad, I gladly. Lief means glad. I or willing. يعني أنا عن طيب خاطر لازم أجيب المنادي تبع المدينة يمثل يزعق my lines, the lines I invented instead of you. يعني بصير أنتوا زيكوا زي إيش اللي بنادي في المدينة الشخص اللي entrusted with the mission of crying about things or calling about things in the public. Town crier spoke my lines. Nor don't sow the air too much with your hand. So, المنشار ولا تلوحوا بأيديكم في السماء كما تلوحون بالمنشار تقطعون الهواء. This is exaggeration. يعني actors were exaggerating things. Be simple. Act things simply. Don't exaggerate. Don't exaggerate your movements, your loud voice. Nor don't sow the air too much with your hand. Thus, but use all gently. Use all things gently. Gently. For in the very torrent, tempest, and as I may say, whirlwind of your passion, in all these troublesome or turbulent actions, torrent السيل, التمبست العاصفة, and the whirlwind الزوبعة, be simple and express your passion simply. You must acquire and beget a temperance. Beget means bring about. Beget means bring about. Temperance control. خليكم متحكمين في حالكم في كلامكم في أعصابكم. We stop here with the hope of returning within 2 minutes. Thank you.